What is up, everybody? We are Cinema 3D. Today I'm here with Justin and I am Sam. And today we are going to be doing a review on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This is a long movie in the process, right? Or in the making.
Yeah, I mean, we've been waiting since I think Guardians 2 was 2017, so
Yeah.
6 whole years.
And when did the first Guardians come out?
2014.
2014, 17, and then wow.
So
Yeah.
it's almost a whole decade after the first one.
But we did get to see them after Guardians 2 in Infinity War, Endgame, and
Yeah,
Christmas special.
I did not see that. I still need
Oh
to.
yeah.
I heard
I
mixed reviews, but I
it's
feel like
definitely
it's fun.
it's fun for sure. Yeah, I feel like and too if you're gonna do a Christmas special out of any Marvel cast, do the Guardians. Like
Yeah,
it was so in that aspect it was really cool. It was nothing special, but like
it was just a
um
holiday.
it was a holiday thing and it was like it was better than the Star Wars holiday special. So
Yeah,
um
that's the first thing I thought of was when we watched the holiday special, and I was like, "Ooh, I don't know if I could finish this."
I can make the holiday special a part of my every year, every Christmas season. Put on the little Ewoks watching,
Be
or not
only
Ewoks,
because
Wookiees.
only because of how bad it is, though.
It's so bad it's good.
It's
Absolutely. But we saw the Guardians again in their own movie, written and directed by James Gunn.
Mhm.
So, what
I don't
did
even
we?
I don't even know what you think about this movie.
We did not talk about this movie at all
Like all
prior
you
to.
knew is that I wanted to talk about it.
I knew you wanted to talk about it, and yeah, I don't know what you think of it. So, oh man, I guess a good leeway into this would be, um, what did you think of it? I'm gonna ask you.
Well, so let's give a tiny bit of history as far as the Guardians trilogy. The
Hmm.
first Guardians I actually really like a lot. I think it's one of the best MCU films. Uh, it just shocked me that I didn't know anyone, and I really loved that, and it came out to be great. And Guardians 2, I had high hopes, which is the issue I have with a lot of sequels, and I go into
Hmm.
it expecting the first, and it just wasn't that for me. I need to rewatch it again. I've only seen it once, and I feel like I'd like it better now. But
Wow.
at the time, I
Yeah,
did not like it.
it's a
Just
long
some,
time.
yeah, it's a long time, and there's a lot of movies from that era that I still need to rewatch. But
Hmm.
as of my first viewing, I didn't like it. So I liked the first one, didn't like the second one. So hence I didn't go to see Guardians 3 opening day.
Hmm.
Um, didn't even watch any reviews really. I just went to see it, and it blew me away. Like this movie is so freaking good.
It was so
Um,
good.
it makes me mad that I didn't see it sooner, and
Hmm.
also it obviously makes me want to rewatch the second one because I feel like, I mean, it's a bold statement for me to say, but I feel like it's a universal statement that the Guardians trilogy is possibly, like, could be the best trilogy that we've gotten from the MCU. I still think the Cap trilogy is the best.
Hmm.
But I've seen a lot of people that love the second one say that, and I can't really argue that now watching all three of them.
I'm one of those people that love the second one.
Yeah.
I've seen the first and second one a ton. Same thing, history for me with Guardians. Saw the first one. I think the same thing for most people who aren't really deep into comics, especially not at that time when it came out.
Hmm.
But had no idea who those characters were. And I think Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, or just Guardians of the Galaxy, is without a doubt one of the best just comic book movies ever made. It stands out. It's
Yeah.
sad that the MCU tried to model so much after Guardians 1 because they never found that charm again, like they did
No.
in that movie when it comes to using that comedy.
Hmm.
Guardians 1 was just it put James Gunn really
Yeah.
out there on the map, showed that his style, when tamed, can really work, and it works for his normal style anyway.
Mm.
If you want to make something truly commercial like that, it can be done, and he showed himself there. And
Yeah.
just utilizing the music, the cast of characters, the weirdness and quirkiness of them. I mean,
Yeah.
Guardians was a blast. It stood out. Even Steven Spielberg himself, when he was listing comic book movies that deserve recognition and a name,
Mhm.
Guardians was up there with Superman and The Dark Knight, original Iron Man. These like and I agree with him 100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, Guardians 2 was a lot of fun. Lean too heavy into the comedy.
Yeah, and
Really happy about this one.
I think that's what made me not like the
Yep.
second one. Mainly the climax. It's a huge nitpick for me, which is why I need to rewatch it because I know I'm gonna like it a lot more, if not like it just as much as the other two.
A
But
lot of charm with Kurt Russell.
yeah, and he's great, and that's I just need to rewatch it. I'm definitely going to and probably rewatch the first one again. But the third one has me feeling a type of way. It's just I didn't I don't know. We've talked about it before how current MCU is just not it. Like
Yep.
we've had Shang-Chi, which was pretty good, and No Way
Shang-Chi
Home,
was
which
pretty
was
good.
a great time because we got to see
Yep.
people come back. But as far as like new stuff that doesn't have anything I mean, granted, Guardians has stuff that's existed already, but the fact that they're actually able to land the plane successfully,
Mm-hmm.
and especially with all the problems that have happened with James Gunn, now people love him again.
Now they love him. Now Marvel's like,
Like
stay.
he's handing Marvel billions of dollars, and
Yep.
he's gonna give DC billions of dollars. It's crazy. But yeah, the going back to your question, I really like the all the comedy in Volume 3. I don't know if I've probably changed as a human being. I think I really have with stuff like that, but
Mm-hmm.
also MCU comedy is really hit or miss.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, like going back just a year ago, Thor: Love and Thunder was one of the worst things I've ever seen,
100%.
and it's just like on the surface level, it's similar type of comedy, but it's just the execution's done so much better, and the acting and the direction and the story.
Mm-hmm.
There was just so much more weight, especially with this film. I don't know. I missed the first 5 minutes, which sucks,
Oh man.
but I knew exactly what was happening in those first,
Mm-hmm.
the first scene, and I was hooked instantly. Like, there's just so much that I want to say, but
I mean, yeah, no, you can. We got it.
okay, Rocket.
Yeah.
I wanted to bawl my eyes out through every scene with him. I never thought I could love a raccoon so much.
Those the backstory of young Rocket.
Yeah,
I mean, they really, really just knew what they were doing with this
yeah,
movie. They got you emotional as can be. And I love when they take the goofy character and then all of a sudden he's not so goofy anymore.
yeah.
And you see where he's coming from.
I
And
know, like the callbacks to the first movie, which no one would ever think, like when Rocket's drunk in the first movie and he's
yep.
like, I didn't ask them to do this. And I'm like, what is he
Yeah,
talking about? And now I'm like, holy crap, the high evolutionary. Like,
yeah.
and he was one of the best villains we've gotten, especially recently from
Especially recently. I mean,
MCU.
the
I don't
villains have
even,
been one of the weakest aspects in the recent movies.
yeah,
And he was just, yeah, no, he was a villain.
yeah, he was menacing,
Yep.
and he
Twisted
was,
view.
yeah, he's just one of those, like, I mean, not as high as Thanos, but
Mm-hmm.
thinks he's doing the right thing, and those are the best types of villains because you can
100%.
completely just be like, okay, this dude knows what he wants and he's going for it, and you're
You're not
also
gonna, yep.
terrified.
You're not gonna sway them from their will.
No,
Yeah.
and the yeah, the backstory with him and Rocket just elevated that whole movie so much. And this is just an editing thing, but normally with um, present time sequences and then going back into past sequences, a lot of times nowadays they just straight up cut, and a lot of average viewers don't understand. But this one was like, I love the way it was just this weird like little glitch effect and sound
Mm-hmm.
design, and it just like you knew instantly you're going into a flashback.
Yep.
But every flashback had a purpose. It wasn't just there to be like, hey, we can add time to
Mm-hmm.
show a cute little scene with baby Rocket. And it's like,
I'm exactly. If anything, James Gunn took just the thing that's going on right now in
Yeah.
Hollywood, which is Baby Anything.
Yeah.
And Baby
And
Rocket, Disney probably loved it. That's merchandising. But then all of a sudden, they're all dead.
I know.
I'm sorry. Yeah, there it is. They're all dead.
Yeah, and those little side characters, Lila,
Floor.
is her name Lore?
Floor.
Floor, and then the other one, I can't remember her name.
Teefs.
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 And it's those. I mean, I felt
And
for like
it was
all of
so
them.
sad.
Yeah, I just I don't know, man. It had so much going for it that I did not expect from
Yep.
an MCU movie currently, and also
No.
just from a third film in a trilogy that no one even thought was going to happen, you know?
Yep.
Like, why is Guardians 3 giving me stuff that like I should have wanted from, I don't know, from any other bigger character, Hulk,
anything. Yeah.
Thor, like anything like that this random batch of misfits gives me a solid trilogy that I can go back to.
It stuck the landing so well, and James Gunn, he knows what this series is, and he just delivered it all the way through from start to finish. He gave us a great cast of characters that all go through arcs, that all end up at completely different places they were going to. Speaking of those characters, I am so glad he did not wimp out on Gamora and make her just fall in love with Quill again. I'm so glad that
I was wondering if that was going to happen.
No, it's just like, yeah, she came back due to the time travel, but then I was like, okay, so there she is. She's back, but like nothing happened.
Hates him, bro.
She hates him. It's not the same romance that it was, and then that brings some tragedy into the events that actually took place in Infinity War.
Yeah.
Like, can something stick?
I know. Yeah, like he appreciated, or he lived, or he took what the Russos did in Infinity War and Endgame, was like, no, this is the actual storyline. Let's continue with that, you know?
Let's continue it. Yep.
And not,
I love
just
that.
automatically make Star-Lord just be like all happy-go-lucky. Now he's the one who was drunk in the first sequence and struggling with who he is as a person. Like,
yep.
And Nebula, like, still going through stuff. Drax, I love Drax in this movie a lot. He's obviously a huge part of the comic relief, but his jokes still land for me.
Meant to be the and they gave him a nice little close at the end. He's I think it was Mantis who might have said it to him, like, I know what you were meant to be. You're not an idiot or something. You're meant to be a father.
It's like, you think I'm an idiot?
And he was great. Apparently this is going to be his last role as Drax, as well as I think a good majority of them, actually. This might be their last time doing these characters.
Yeah, which is kind of sad, but also I don't want to keep egging it on, you know? I mean, I saw at the end
the legendary Star-Lord will
return. It's like, okay, what is that?
Which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder
the
if
legendary
it's like
Star-Lord. I love that.
An Avengers movie or just a spin-off show. I don't know.
Hopefully, I mean, I'm obviously fine with Chris Pratt coming back as Star-Lord. That's fine. But I do like this core group of the Guardians having a close.
Yeah.
And that's something that, I mean, the more we get into these podcasts, the more we'll hear how much I want the MCU to have a close and how much I view Endgame as a close. But for the Guardians themselves, for these individual characters that I've grown to love, for them to not be ruined is an extremely important thing for me. Yeah. And James Gunn, he did that. He didn't ruin these characters once.
I don't know how. I mean, the dude is smart. I don't even give him enough credit because he's taken over DC, and it's been tough because, you know, DC is a huge part of what I love, and I don't know, especially after seeing that, I'm like, I just got to see what he's doing, because I feel like anything he touches can turn to gold. Because I mean, he did all 3 Guardians movies, he did the Suicide Squad, he did the Peacemaker show, which have all been amazing. Like,
I wrote the Scooby-Doos.
He wrote the Scooby-Doos. He produced Brightburn, which was also great.
His movie Super is fun. It's twisted. It's funny. Stars Rainn Wilson. It's a guilty pleasure watch, I think, but but he's grown since then too.
Yeah.
And I trust that he's just going to do incredible things with DC, and he's going to bring the heart that he brought to the Guardians movies, because he has a passion for telling these type of stories.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we need, and that's what he shows us every time, is that he's going to give it heart when he tells these stories, and he doesn't take it lightly. He doesn't take it as a joke. He's a comic book fan, and he gets what these characters mean to fans.
Yeah.
And I think that's, I mean, that's the biggest thing, the MCU, my biggest complaint in recent years since Endgame. I was actually sad that this video didn't come out before the Spider-Man one, because I did talk about a lot of fatigue that's going on in comic books and stuff. But so far this summer, I have not been disappointed. I walked out.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, thought that was one of the best. I mean, out of this world.
Mm-hmm.
And then right below it, though, is Guardians 3 coming in as an amazing third act in a superhero movie, something that often doesn't happen.
Yeah. And all 3 acts of Guardians 3 are just great. I still need to see Spider-Verse, especially after watching your review. Got this bad problem of waiting a little bit and then being like, oh, I should have seen this earlier. But
yeah, no, but I agree with you. All 3 acts were phenomenal. And also, man, this movie, when it ended, I just felt perfect. Like,
yeah.
I felt the ending coming.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so glad it didn't get dragged out past that.
Yeah, I feel like this film is perfect. Like,
Pretty much.
I can't say anything bad about it, which is why I put it as the best Guardians film.
Oh,
and
man.
I have number 1 at number 2, because even Guardians 1, I love that movie, but I feel like there's just that weird little cringe sometimes that I can feel towards the end with the dance. Every time I watch it, I get a little bit cringed out, but Guardians 3 just kept like a perfectly healthy balance of comedic timing with dramatic moments, and it never felt, neither one felt shoehorned in at any specific moment. Like, it felt like when you needed to be sad, you were sad, and there was a good amount of time for you to get back to this joke, whatever happened. And when you needed to feel tense with High Evolutionary, like, you did. I just felt like it was perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Like, I feel like Thanos sat down and talked with James Gunn. It was like, this is what you need to do. But
he's
yeah,
like, Guardians 2, 1 a little too far to the side. Guardians 1 not enough.
But yeah, so I think it's my favorite out of the trilogy, and I do have it placed on my MCU list. I don't know. I know we're probably going to do an MCU list down the road.
We need to, 100%.
I could give a little tease right now, and I also have it placed on my rankings of the movies I've seen this year, but
yeah,
I've only seen 3.
I'm excited to do. I mean, that list is going to be down the road, probably at the end of the year, that we reveal our top picks of the year. I can tell you right now, though, it is definitely sitting, trying to make sure nothing huge stands out this year. Yeah, no, it's sitting at number 2.
There wasn't like a Sonic 3 that came out this year.
Sonic 3 did not secretly come out this year. Yeah, no, we luckily didn't have to talk about 22. I'll have to say how Sonic 2 took that spot, but yeah, no, this year it definitely sits at number 2 of the year. Right behind Across the Spider-Verse. Yeah,
mine, I've only seen 3 movies this year, and the 2 that are worth talking about is Guardians and John Wick 4.
John Wick 4, that's right.
And I love John Wick 4. That was a great ending to that story. But I gotta say, Guardians 3 is number 1 of the year so far. So, which is crazy. But we're gonna have to do this list like end of November, beginning of December-ish.
But then I got some good ones coming out the Christmas.
Or we could do it like the last week of the year.
Yeah. But then in terms of Guardians movies, I do have to say this one, I agree with everything that you said. For me, as of right now, though, it is sitting at that number 2 spot as well on the Guardians. Whenever we do that superhero one, which really should be soon, I'd say after The Flash comes out, maybe we reevaluate where everything's sitting on the superhero list, because Guardians 1 will, I think, have a permanent spot in my top 10.
Oh, just like top 10 superhero movies?
of all time. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean it's such a classic at this point.
Yeah.
I think it already achieved that title.
That's what I was
And
struggling with when I try to figure out which one I like more.
and sometimes just being the first one to the race gets you there with a movie like that. And I think that's what Guardians 1 does it, but it's not saying anything for Guardians 3 because that movie learned from any of the small mistakes from the second one and was just a movie with so much heart and everything paid off.
Yeah.
It's a movie that I'm glad happened after Endgame, which is rare.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's hard to say that nowadays, and it's sad to say that nowadays, but at least we got one. Everybody gets one. Probably gonna hear that in every single episode we do from now on.
I mean, honestly, even speaking of everybody gets one Spider-Man, No Way Home was, don't get me wrong, fantastic. Great movie. Great time. But I could have lived without it.
It's only, I mean, I feel like for the most part, it's good because of Toby and Andrew coming back.
It is.
If you take them out, I mean, you lose the movie.
You entirely lose the movie. And
like, if you take the nostalgia out, you lose the movie and you lose the nostalgia, which is a whole part of the movie. Like, that's the thing I think it, to its success and also to its detriment.
To its success, because in no way am I ever going to say it's bad.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. Guardians 3 takes the cake as our best post-Endgame Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. It's just, it was.
Yeah. There's no debate on that, I don't think. Yeah, it's perfect ending to a trilogy. I think it solidifies itself as in the talks for being on a top trilogy list.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, especially from how many people love the second one and how much I'm going to love the second one when I rewatch it.
Yeah.
I always forget Kurt Russell's in that.
That'll be an interesting thing to see. I love Kurt Russell. He's one of my favorite actors. That'll be an interesting thing to see, though, of which one, because it is an obvious choice between Captain America and Guardians of which trilogy is best.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards still probably thinking Captain America trilogy.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because now it's pretty solid Guardians. I got to see it again.
I know.
I got to see all of them.
I feel like the better way to, the quick answer is always going to be Cap.
Right.
But if we did film to film, that would be a different answer. I feel like it would be tougher to decide. Like, second one for me would be Winter Soldier. First one would
absolutely
probably be Guardians.
Yes.
And the third one would be the one to duke it out, because there's great things in both of them.
There really is.
But
Civil War,
pretty much an Avengers movie versus just Guardians. Avengers versus Guardians.
Yeah. But then again, who knows with time also, because these MCU movies from phase 1 through 3 have already managed to become classics to a lot of comic book fans. And Guardians 3, this is off of one viewing.
I know.
I've watched the MCU like 10 times.
Yeah, that's what's hurting my brain of how much this movie impacted me and you, and we've only seen it once, and it was literally just less than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not, like, I know when I'm having recency bias, and it's not this time.
Yep, absolutely.
But yeah, I think going back to your classics point, I think the music in these movies help these to become even more of classics quicker, because of just like they're out of time almost.
Yep.
And even just the look of them, there's a lot of CGI, but it just looks like really good and fun and exciting. And comedy, there's action, there's drama, there's love, there's everything. Like, like James Gunn had lightning in a bottle, and he freaking kept it in that bottle for 3 movies straight.
He really did. And you know, as great as the Suicide Squad was, the cast of characters definitely wasn't the same as Guardians, and that just goes to show you like what he did, because I mean, he just took two lists of obscure comic book characters, put them together. Guardians was the home run, though, and that's due to the casts, due to the way they set it up from the get-go. And I mean, everyone loves working with James Gunn there. Great. It's just it looks like a great time being on that set. Him and his brother.
Yeah.
Sean running around with anything they can, anything they can have him do, just crawling
He's
around, being
like
every animal.
trying to be Yondu.
Yeah, trying to be Yondu too. Oh, that was a cool moment too. Yeah, Yondu made a.
Yep.
Oh man, this movie's great.
Yeah, the movie is great. There's so many perfectly executed callbacks to the
Yep.
first film and to the second film, and just also the Avengers movies, everything else in the MCU storyline, and but yeah, Rocket specifically broke my heart multiple times in that movie. I didn't know. I thought someone was gonna die.
Everyone, I thought I got spoiled because a bunch of people told me, "Oh yeah, Rocket dies," and I was like, I was ready for it the whole time.
Yeah, like I would have believed you if you had told me that before I saw the movie.
Absolutely, it was actually kind of a nice throw off almost.
Yeah, and then I thought Star-Lord was gonna die at the end.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I didn't want that. I'm definitely okay with characters dying off. I mean, Iron Man is definitely a good example of that.
Yeah,
but it wasn't the right moment. It wasn't the right time for Star-Lord.
I feel like his story needs to end with love
or something. Yeah, that's why I think everyone was closed out except for Star-Lord.
Yeah.
And
whether that's with
yeah,
whether that's with Gamora or not, just some form of a happy ending for him because he's been through so much.
Yeah, he's had a hard life shown here.
Yeah.
Don't they even mention in the movie how he accidentally caused the destruction of the universe?
Yeah,
that's great.
I think he said, I think it was him who said something about he was going on like a tangent of like, yeah, I might have caused this, but who cares? Like, that's what happened.
Great callback to what now feels like so long ago.
Yeah,
with Infinity War.
It was 5 years ago.
5 years ago. That's crazy. But yeah, this has been a great summer so far for movies, and I really hope it just keeps going because
it's going to.
It's going to. I didn't get a review out on it, but even the Little Mermaid, good live action remake.
Really
good live action remake. I'm not a fan of live action remakes, and I think we need the original content. But if you're gonna do one, this one was good.
Man, so that shocks me more than you loving Guardians 3.
This summer is just
I did have a feeling about this summer when I checked it out. I was like, man, there's so much good stuff. Well, so much stuff that we're excited for, like Transformers, The Flash, Oppenheimer.
Yep.
Even something stupid like Barbie and Mission Impossible. Like, there's so many movies that have to be talked about, and we are going to talk about them.
We're going to talk about them. When I went to the movie theater and I looked at that line of posters outside, I was just like, oh, this is like, we're back.
It brings me back to like 2016, 2017 when we were like going to a movie every couple weeks or so.
Yep.
It was like, oh, I'm so excited about this one. What about that one? It's like,
that's what it feels like.
This year, movies are finally like back.
It does feel like they made their kind of full recovery at the end of last year, and then coming into this year, really full swing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't got much time left.
Yep.
My final thoughts on Guardians 3. Great freaking movie. I don't have any problems with it, which is very hard for me to say sometimes. And yeah, I don't want to spoil my MCU list because I know we're going to be talking about that somewhere down the road.
Yep.
But it is definitely in the top 10, obviously.
Ooh.
And it's closer to the top. So
wow. Okay. I am excited to hear this one.
Yeah. So we will definitely be doing that sooner than later. So stay tuned for that. But what are your final thoughts on it?
My final thoughts are this is a close making one of the most solid superhero trilogies ever made. Full of heart, full of fun, full of tears. Guardians of the Galaxy will go down in history as some of the best superheroes. And James Gunn, I salute you. and
Yep.
I'm looking forward to what you're doing with DC.
Amen.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, a la John, I
Yeah.
suggest you go see it.
Hopefully, hopefully he watches this.
Oh, I know he's gonna watch this before he goes sees the movie.
He will. Yeah. Hopefully, we influence him to get a little bit of a respark with Marvel, even because you know what, they made me believe in second chances, or James Gunn did.
James Gunn did.
James
And
Gunn
now
did.
he's giving a second chance to the DC, and
Man is full of second chance. Everyone gave him a second chance. He's returning the favor.
Giving Ezra a second chance. He gave Chris Pratt a second
man.
chance. Like everything.
Everything. So with that, that is pretty much our thoughts of Guardians Galaxy Volume 3. I guess, you know what? Let us know what you think of Guardians Galaxy. Let us know, man. Let us know.
This movie impacted us so much we kind of forgot how to speak. So
it's true. Yeah. I just got the Guardians music playing in my head the whole time. But we will see you guys next time.